Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is the Market Report brought to you by the Maestro Way. This is the Maestro. It is Friday the 13th of October 2017. Right now the markets, frankly, they look green, but I would say that they're flat. Of note, we should be aware that the Nikkei was up 272 points. Be aware of that and its effect on our markets. The first chart I want to cover is the gold chart. Normally I would report to you the current price action, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to report to you the price action after the low. I believe personally that we've seen silver's low back in mid-December 2015. You're going to notice here that the 50-day moving average moved up north through a declining 200-day moving average. The overall move from bottom, the most recent low, to the top was 55%. However, I want you to keep, I'm going to take notice here, at the crossover, and you might even say right here, it's about a 42% move. Okay, Maestro, what does that have to do with today? Well, it actually has a lot to do with today. Today specifically. Ladies and gentlemen, currently right now, you're watching silver here as of 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The 50-day moving average is rising and is literally only 3/4 of a penny underneath the 200-day moving average. By the way, that 200-day moving average is rising. It is rising. That is the most bullish of golden crosses, according to William O'Neill. So silver is, of course, right now just trading just underneath its high of the day. Be aware of that. What about gold? Where's gold? Here's the key. Gold is above, and currently soundly above, its 50-day moving average. What happens when gold rises above the 50-day moving average? Well, let's see. It makes about an 8% move here back in midsummer, culminating in early September. Also, I want you to notice I've been using parabolic SAR of late, and it's really been helping my chart analysis and my subscribers trading. And you're going to notice that it flipped. You'll notice this now, this move upward, and of course now we have the price action just above the 50-day moving average. What I'd like to now do is cover the indice. I'm going to start with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which printed another all-time high, as you're probably aware. I am watching this parabolic SAR, and when it is breached, eventually that will flip, and you're going to see weakness in the Dow. And at this point, this would play out around the 20th. It would be about a week from now. Unless, of course, we start to see the markets move much higher. But I think that metals might be telling us something. I think we need to be watching that. Next, we'll look at the S&P. And the S&P also, yes, once again printed an all-time high. This, of course, now turns into support. And you're going to notice its parabolic SAR rising as well, and this chart seems to play out midweek next week, at least when it comes to parabolic SAR, unless of course the S&P takes off next week. Next is the NASDAQ. Again, I'm making a small adjustment to the arc on SAR. You can see I'm literally trying to catch all of these points right there, and you can see that this chart then plays out also maybe end of the next week, early the next week after that, and of course we know that the NASDAQ is formed another all-time high. The chart that I think you're going to find most interesting, at least I do, is going to be the Russell, and I think the Russell is telling us something. Yesterday, SAR flipped. You're going to notice it's not only is it flat, but actually is sort of trending and drifting downwards. And that doesn't certainly mean that that won't change. But I actually took a short position as a result of watching parabolic SAR and the Russell. And the vehicle you would want to consider doing that would be ticker RWM. And you're going to notice its SAR flipped also in, I guess, relation with the Russell. Next, I want to look at the dollar. And the dollar SAR is falling. And the dollar, it appears to me that, I don't want to say it's stabilizing, but it is holding its 50-day moving average. In the past, it's not been able to move above its 50-day moving average. And if it did, it fell right through. So I really think the dollar is something to be watched. And you're going to notice also the 50-day moving average is flattening with a falling 200-day moving average. Eventually, you're going to see a golden cross on the dollar. Eventually. Now, certainly that won't be the case if the dollar falls through the floor. My floor target on the dollar would be the 89 handle. And of course, you can see this regression trend right here. And it seems like any time that the price action hits the top of this channel, it falls back down, and vice versa. When it hits the bottom of the channel, it gets a bounce. So again, this might be a nice guide for you to consider. The US oil chart, frankly, and I have been actually bullish oil of late. I think you're going to see oil move higher soon. Don't tell me why, whether it's geopolitical, whether it's supply and demand, I'm not sure, but notice that parabolic SAR did indeed flip today, or at least in this session, I should say. And you do have a flattening 200-day moving average and a rising 50-day moving average, which constitutes eventually a golden cross when the 50-day moves and rises through the 200-day. Frankly, it's interesting, but it looks a little bit, from a moving average perspective, like the silver chart. And I have heard, and I can't confirm this, I'm just a musician and conductor and an educator and a chartist by hobby, but I have heard that silver and oil, there's a correlation. I don't know how, I don't know if that's true or not, but it certainly seems interesting that both 50, 200 convergences on each chart happen to be aligning together. Notice, by the way, up here that now the 50-day moving average is only 0.0063 away from its crossover. Ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate your allowing me and Greg Mannarino allowing me to post on this page. I hope you find it interesting. You can find me on YouTube, my YouTube channel, and just simply look up The Maestro Way. And if you're interested in subscribing, you can go to my website. It's themaistroway.com, and there's a subscription area there. At 1,000 subscribers, it's free to me and it's free to you. Have a great day, folks. Have a fantastic weekend, and do what I always do. I hug my children. You should hug yours too. Later.